Hi, my name is Barry Swarestein and I'm the author of Which Way is Your Claymore Facing? Today I really wanted to talk about the challenges facing veterans, and I'd like to read a little bit from an amazing book and an incredible author that I'll talk about as soon as I finish reading this. And just have a listen to this. He says, "Veterans do not have to bury their emotions forever. We do not have to meekly accept that our service will always force us to react in ways we know to be harmful to our and our family's happiness. We are warriors, not victims, and we have a choice to make: stagnate in fear or advance to face our challenges head on. Attacking and overcoming our obstacles is the only real option." He says, "You'll never revert to the person you were before you started." And he continues to say, good thing too, because that's not the goal of the journey. The goal is to complete the transformation that began the day you chose to serve. What lies at the end of this transformation? A wiser, more self-aware veteran who has descended into the depths of the unknown and returned with knowledge to share. How to share it? Well, as Dan Sheehan says, that's up to you. So I'm reading from a book, Continuing Actions by Dan Sheehan. You know, there's a lot of really great books on people describing their stories while in action, in combat, whether on the ground or in the air. But there are a few books where warriors have actually taken the external journey and also talked about what has happened inside them, the impact on what has happened to them as warriors and the wounds that they've taken away. And then begun to actually talk about how do they move forward, how do they recover, but also the nobility of being a warrior and the wisdom that can come, as Dan says, once we really are prepared and willing to do the work to heal it. So this is a book I really strongly recommend for everyone, for families, for veterans, for civilians. It gives a really good understanding into the inner world of a warrior returning from combat. Dan's also written another book, which is After Action, which is the true story of a Cobra pilot's journey. They're extraordinary books, and I really recommend them. Dan talks a lot about the impact of killing, and what I'd like to read today is a poem that's in my little book, Which Way is Your Claymore Facing? And it's a poem I wrote which tried to actually bring or make visible the impact, potential impact of killing, saying that I've talked to many men over the years who have seemed to have no concern around the experience of killing, but I always do wonder at a deep level what burden they do have to carry or process in time. So the poem, it's called How Do I? How do I make my peace with the killing? How do I find peace from the nightmares that haunt my sleep and my dreams? How do I forget the lifeless eyes of the child or my brother lying still and bleeding in the grass? How do I silence the sounds of screaming and pain that still haunt me? How do I talk of the fear that continues to this day? How do I switch off the hypervigilance that exhausts me? How do I find a moment of peace away from the war that still rages in my brain? How do I numb the pain, that has closed my heart to everyone I love? How do I awaken my heart from the numbness that has stilled my feelings? How do I make you understand the grief, the pain, the loss, the fear, the rage? How do I ask for help when there are no words to speak? How do I ask for the help I need when help is the last thing I want? How do I ask for forgiveness for the pain I have brought into your life? How do I undo the damage that my rage has caused? How do I break down the walls that I have built around myself to protect me from the world and others? How do I break down the walls that I have built to protect others from the nightmares and rage that live within me? How do I hope, or how do I find hope during the moments when I wish to embrace death? How do I find life in the memories of death? How do I let go of the ghosts that live beside me and within me every minute of my day and night? How do I ask you to hold me when my heart is bleeding with pain? How do I find my home in this place beyond the war? How will I no longer need to drink the pain away? How do I tell my story without the fear of seeing the horror in your eyes? How do I? I think this poses a lot of really deep questions, great challenges that veterans do have to face, their families, their friends, as they integrate and move back into civilian life. Again, I'd really like to recommend Dan's book. It's a really profound book. There's been a lot of thought in it, and I think everybody reading it will really benefit from it. I wish you all well. Have a good day. Cheers.